What's up, everybody? This is the Helpful Hacker here. Today we're going to be going over the Putting It All Together room from TryHackMe. This is part of the How the Web Works module and part of the pre-security pathway. So we'll get started with task number 1, putting it all together. So they just give you, they give you a quick summary. You request a website, your computer goes to DNS to find the IP address, and then your computer will talk to the web server using HTTP requests. Then the web server will respond with HTTP response, and it'll give you HTML, JavaScript, CSS, images, all the stuff you need so that your browser can actually format and display the website to you. So that's how it's done. So just answer the question at the bottom, saying you've read this, and then you're done with task 1. Task 2 is going to talk about other components. So load balancers. So imagine you have just one web server with one copy of everything that's needed to, render your website. If you have millions of people going to your website, then that's quickly going to get overloaded with requests and it'll crash the server eventually. So what companies do is they have multiple servers and they will have copies of their websites on each server, and then they put a load balancer in front of them. So your request actually goes to the load balancer, and then the load balancer will divvy it up among the servers that have copies of everything you need to display the website. And there's a couple of different methods: round robin, which is where each one takes a turn, or weighted, which is just whichever one is doing the least amount of work. That's where the load balancer is going to send that request. So that's what a load balancer does. Then you have a content delivery network, or a CDN. And what this is large companies like Google, for example. People all over the world use Google. So if Google only had web servers, let's say in the United States, then it might be harder for someone like in Australia. It might take them more time for them to reach out all the way to the United States and then receive all the HTML, JavaScript, CSS that they need to put together a website. So what large companies do is they put copies of, this data, their websites, in thousands of servers all over the world, and then you automatically will get directed to whichever server is the closest to you. So that's what a content delivery network is. So yeah, it's basically just thousands of web servers all over the world with copies of your website. So makes things easy. Then you have databases, and this is just where information gets stored for like your server or something. So if you have a website where people log in and have a username and password, you probably have a database storing those usernames and passwords so that your website can access them when needed. So that's what a database is. There's just lots of different kinds. You'll see all that. And then you also have a WAF, or a web application firewall. And what this does is this sits in front of the web server, right? And they kind of show that in the picture here. If the world is the internet, then you have the WAF, or the web application firewall, and then it goes to the server. And this is to protect the server so that you can't send malicious things or try and hack the web server. A firewall will make that much harder because it'll sit in front of the server and it will filter out anything that doesn't meet its criteria. So web application firewall, important. Come down here, answer the questions. So let's see, what can be used to host static files and speed up clients' visits to a website? That would be a CDN, right? Because, it'll host all that stuff for you, and then it's close and they can just grab it. So CDN. What does a load balancer perform to make sure the host is still alive? It'll perform a health check. So we actually didn't really talk about that, but here it is, a health check. And That's just to make sure that the server is responding appropriately. Another benefit to load balancers is if one of these fails, you have two other ones, and the load balancer will just start sending it to those two and not the server that's busted. So useful. So that's a health check. And then what can be used to help against the hacking of websites? That's a WAF, or a web application firewall. And answer those, and then you're done with task 2. Task 3, how web servers work. So a web server is just a computer, but it's a special computer that has software that is waiting for incoming traffic, and then it's essentially sitting around and waiting to respond. And some common web server software you'll see are these. Apache is super common. And then, so the web server will give you files like your JavaScript, CSS, and everything else from what is called its root directory. And this is just configured when you set up this software, set up a server. And so here's an example of one. Here's an example in Windows. And so if you ask for this file, it will send you that file, but it'll send it from the root directory. So that's where you are when you ask for picture.jpg. Then you have virtual hosts. So all that this means is that one web server can host multiple websites. And it does that just by there's a special file inside the web server that you can configure, and then the web server, whenever it receives a request, it will look through that file and see if it can match the domain name. And if it matches the domain name, then it'll just function like a normal web server. So virtual hosts sounds kind of confusing, but basically it's just so that a web server can host multiple websites. And each one of these websites, so like here it says you have 1.com would be mapped to here, and that would be its root directory. And then 2.com would be mapped to here, and that would be its root directory. And so depending on your request, the web server will serve up 1.com or 2.com. So pretty straightforward. Then you have static and dynamic content. Static content would be, stuff that's, not dynamic, like pictures, JavaScript, CSS, and some HTML. Like when those things don't change, they're static, and the web server will just have that static content on there. And then you have dynamic content, which will change depending upon the request. So they give an example here of like a blog. So different days of the week, there might be different blog posts on the home page of a website, right? That's dynamic. And so the changes that you see for that are done in the back end. And we've talked about front end, back end, or client side and server side. So the back end or the server side is where that happens, and they can make those changes using different scripting languages. And then, so that all happens on the server side, and then you just end up seeing it in your front end or the client side or in your browser, right? All kind of referring to the same thing. So that's everything that you see. But how did they decide which blog post was going to be the one posted on the front of the website? That's done on the back end with the server. And then these are a bunch of common scripting languages that are used for back-end scripting for web servers. And then they give you a nice little example of PHP right here. And that's kind of what it would look like. And the interesting thing is that they're trying to point out again is that the client won't see the PHP code because it's happening on the back end. So then we can answer the questions. What does web server software use to host multiple sites? Virtual hosts. So that's the answer to that one. They phrase that weird, or I just can't read. Next, what is the name for the type of content that can change? Dynamic. Does the client see the backend code? No, they do not. Now, once you've answered those, we're done with task 3. Task 4 is just this little interactive quiz. Okay, so with this quiz, let's see. So it just has us, if we read down here, it's just going to have us do like the order of a regular web request. So it starts with us requesting it. Then we're going to check our own computer to see if we have the IP address. If not, then you check your recursive DNS server. That'll ask the root server where to go, and then that root server gives it the authoritative DNS server that actually hosts the website. And then, let's see, would it be request passes through a firewall protecting the actual server, and then it passes through a load balancer, and then you actually connect to that server, kind of the TCP three-way handshake, if you know what that is. And then the web server receives the request, whatever you're asking for, and then it'll reach into a database, grab, whatever you need, all that stuff you need to render the website, and then your browser will render the website. And then right there, you have your flag. So you can copy, paste that in there. And once you've done that, you've finished task 4. If you enjoyed the video, if you found it helpful, give it a like, subscribe. It helps me out a lot. And with that, you have finished the Putting It All Together room from TryHackMe.